With you sitting on the chair.
Guiding from behind. Part of Horse Herd Harmonics. Learning Universal Horse Language. Mighty Horse Coaching and Powerword Publications. With Smoky and Bridget. What you need for this is just to be sitting with your horse, and in between going and guiding from behind, you just sit and relax and meditate or take a book to read. And what you need spread out in your safe area are 5 or 6 piles of hay, well separated, so you can walk behind the horse from pile to pile. So Bridget was just demonstrating the importance of just sitting and being in the space, and now she's going to just ask Smoky to move off that pile of hay, and rather than going away to her chair, she's going to walk behind him for several steps and then go and sit down again. Meanwhile, Smoky's going off to another pile of hay, and Bridget's just relaxing. We've kept the sitting down bits quite short for the film, but obviously you can sit there for as long as you like. You don't want to do it over and over again, right one after the other. Now she's wandering off and getting sort of behind Smoky and asking him to move off. You can see Smoky's being very, very watchful, and he's moving off before she's even asked. And again, she walked after him for a few steps and sat down again. And then she's just sharing time and space, which is the very basic, just being with your horse, that all of Horse Herd Harmonics is built on. She's going to wander over. Notice she gives him quite a wide space, and notice how carefully he's watching what she's up to. And she asks him to move on, and the minute she moves on, she puts the swishies in behind and walks along for several steps until he gets to the next pile of hay, and she actually did a halt, asked him to halt there. So Bridget's sitting down, just sharing time and space again. And now she's going to move around behind and ask Smoky to walk on. And you sort of ask him to go past the first pile and head to a second pile, and then she leaves him alone to eat his hay. And we cut out a lot of her sitting time so we can just show you the whole procedure again. She asked him to move away. You can see he's being very observant and moving away very readily. She asks him to go to the next pile, and then she says, no, I want you to go on to the next pile as well. And he's quite happy to do that. And when he gets there, she does a whoa. She says whoa and drops her hips, which is a whoa cue, the body language cue, and she goes and sits down again. And again, we've cut out her sitting time. If you watch Smoky's ears and eyes, he's very aware of where she is. But his tail is quiet, so he's not concerned about anything. But as soon as she asks, he says, okay, I'm moving off. And she says, I want you to move off the second pile as well, using quite a bit of energy to make her point clear. And he moves off to another pile, which is not the closest one, which is interesting. So Bridget had a lot of time to just walk behind him, and there she did a whoa and went to sit down again. So the sitting down in between and just being with your horse is really important. She's got up and she's asking him to walk on, and you can see she's spending quite a lot of time just walking behind him and asking him to move more than one pile away. You can make your piles further and further apart as well as the horse gets to understand the task. And then because you don't want to always be asking the horse to move off. She comes around in front and does a greet and go, which is really important, and sits down after that.